So I want to try to share this information with you tonight as briefly and concisely as possible. We're going to talk about metabolic health, what that is, how that affects every single person. So the information that I'm sharing with you tonight is for everybody. It affects every person. And the sooner that we know this information, the sooner that we can really help improve our health or stay healthy. So we're going to talk about metabolic health. What is it? How does it affect people? And how to use the things that we have to do better with it. So that's not right. As I talked about, how does this impact me? Because it does impact everybody. So a lot of people might think that it just impacts them if they have already had symptoms of something going on or something like that. And the fact is, as you can see, it's not even just people who maybe are overweight. It's not people who are having issues with things. Sometimes it's even skinny people that they can have really bad metabolic health. And so we can't assess it based on, somebody's physical appearance, because the reality is that 88% of Americans are not metabolically healthy. So that's obviously something that we really can do something about to improve that number. Metabolic health, basically in a nutshell, is how our body generates and processes energy. So obviously that has to do with everything in our health. And so we're going to talk about all these different areas, because if you look at it, some people might realize that their metabolic health needs some attention when they have high blood sugar, high blood pressure. Something comes up on their cholesterol labs that's not good. Or they might start noticing some weight gain or just difficulty losing weight. But again, that's not always the case for everybody. As I've looked into this and done a lot of research on this, I've seen how pretty much every area of health, especially the ones that people are the most concerned about or have the most symptoms or issues with, are related to our metabolic health. It is the number one underlying factor in pretty much all of these areas. So let's get into those a little bit here. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the things that you might have going on in your health or you want to prevent, and how that has to do with metabolic health. Then we're going to talk about what we do about it. So for instance, if you think about the breast cancer rates and just cancer rates in general, breast cancer rates specifically have gone up 256% since 1980 due to insulin resistance. So this is a metabolic issue. And it also has so much to do with hormones, and we'll talk about that too. And so it plays into the breast cancer rates in a few different ways. Most women don't realize that their ovaries have insulin receptors on them. And so the ovary health is very much tied to what's going on with our blood sugar and our insulin. So this is how some things like ovarian cysts, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and things come up. This also has a lot to do with our adrenal health. For me personally, I had done so many things for my adrenal health, and I didn't really see much change in it until I really tackled this part of it. And so this is a huge component of making sure that you have adrenal health. And also your skin is so much tied to your metabolic health and what is going on with your blood sugar and your insulin. Interestingly, when we have these blood sugar spikes that happen with everyday foods, and even if you're on a really healthy diet, say for instance a paleo diet, there are things like arrowroot and tapioca and all of these grain-free flours and grain-free products that are just basically like pure sugar in the body as well. And these things cause these blood sugar spikes. And how that affects skin, one way is it actually increases the sebum production, which is how it results in acne. And so that also plays into skin conditions such as like rosacea and eczema and things like that. Blood pressure is definitely related to the blood sugar issues and things like that. sugar spike happens, when the blood sugar goes up from food. Oh no, I hope my internet's okay. Is it working okay so far, Missy?
The sound cut out for me for a couple seconds. I don't know if it cut out for anybody else, but it's back now.
Probably. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Let me know if it gets worse. Thank you so much. So when the blood sugar spikes happen from food, what the body does in response to that is create or produce a bunch of insulin. When that massive amount of insulin enters the body and lowers the glucose, a lot of times it lowers it too much. And then we have these low blood sugars that are reactive from the high blood sugars. And when that happens, the body sends out a bunch of adrenaline and cortisol in sort of a panic mode to say something is really wrong here, because the body knows that if our blood sugar goes really low, we could die. That's kind of an urgent thing. And so this is our protective mechanism in order to make sure that that doesn't happen. But with this production of cortisol and adrenaline from that happening every time our blood sugar spikes, it has this very compounded detrimental effect to the adrenal health. And so that is the key component of making sure that adrenal health is recovered and or protected. So we talked about different areas and ways it affects weight, whether it's weight gain or how it can happen in skinny people too. There's damage to the blood vessels when this is going on. Some of those blood vessels are, of course, in the brain. And so this results in the death of brain cells, which we will see initially as brain fog, and over the long term can be things like dementia and Alzheimer's. So all of that to say, we have some really awesome things that we can do about it. So I want to share with you some research that I have compiled. We're going to talk about how to have more energy, something everybody wants, more brain clarity, another thing everybody wants, better sleep. There we go again. Everybody wants that. Better skin, stable mood, healthy hormones, more endurance, more fat burning, and a stronger immune system. And so that is what we're going for tonight. So I've shared a lot of information over this kind of stuff, and you can always ask me questions or ask for more information on the problem and how this all happens. And I have a lot of resources for that, but I want to spend most of this time talking about what we have and how we can do it. Now, obviously, we can't supplement our way out of a bad diet. So what I'm going to share with you is a lot of the supplements and things that we have to be able to help with that. But obviously, improving diet is going to be an important part of that. So this, obviously is stuff that most people know about as far as managing their intake of refined foods and things like that. And then there are other ways that are essential. For instance, exercising is absolutely crucial. I have seen it over and over, time and time again, just the immediate and the long-term impact that just some steady exercise, nothing fancy, nothing intense, can truly have on our metabolic health. In fact, intense exercise can sometimes be detrimental, especially for those whose adrenal health is already suffering or hormone health maybe has already taken a hit. So I would make sure to stress that exercise is something that is not intense, and it doesn't have to be hard or anything like that. It just has to be consistent. So that's going to be a huge part of this. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, so let's go to, I wonder if I can do this. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to go to this. Is it showing a document for you guys with a bunch of words? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Missy. So I have this document, and I will make it available to everyone. I may have already, but I'll do it again. So this has a list of a lot of the research on some of the products that we're going to talk about tonight. One of those is turmeric. This one is for turmeric. So let's see here. This one has some really profound research on it, not just for prevention, but also for helping monitor or just really minimize the complications and the symptoms of things. So we can see from a lot of research that there is a very great impact on the body's metabolic health from turmeric. So we see that it's been shown to reduce the complications of high blood sugars. It's also been researched for gestational diabetes, and it also has some really great research for helping with weight loss and things like that. Now, in here, I've noted that the biggest factor with turmeric and curcumin is that it's most of the time not absorbed well. There's just the ridiculously low absorption rate for most turmeric. So if you're taking the herb itself, turmeric, and you're kind of just, putting it in stuff, or you're popping it in capsules, you won't see the same results as what these studies show. I'll just say that. So what we have, something really available, if you have not tried it, we have Young Living's golden turmeric. And so when Young Living was creating this, they did a really incredible job with a patented process in order to make it extremely bioavailable so that the body is getting so much of what it needs with this. And this isn't even what the research was done on for these benefits. And so we have something that is more bioavailable, more absorbable in the body than what the research was using. And so we have the ability and the potential to be able to see more benefits from the golden turmeric, and it's delicious. So that is a really excellent one to start with. One of the things to keep in mind too is the biggest factor with our metabolic health being poor and blood sugar being unstable is inflammation. This creates this constant inflammation going on in the body, this constant heat, this constant just things, inflammation everywhere in the entire body. And turmeric also has some really great power to help reduce inflammation. So there's many ways that it really helps with this. There are some essential oils that have been researched for this. Coriander is one of our favorites. We just put it in capsules, and cinnamon also, a lot of people know about that. Unfortunately, a lot of people will take the research about cinnamon and they kind of extrapolate it into, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon, dried cinnamon powder on my meal, and it's going to make it healthier for me. And if anybody's wearing a glucose monitor, they'll quickly see that it actually had zero impact on the meal that they ate, because when they did the research on the powdered herb itself, it took a lot. And it's an amount that most people will not consume with any meal, even the yummiest apple dessert. So we obviously have the power to use the cinnamon oil for that. And so that's another one that some people will find very helpful in utilizing in capsules. Black pepper, surprisingly, is another one. And obviously that, again, too, isn't going to be from cracking a little bit of fresh black pepper on your meal, but more so getting a good amount from it, as they use in the research. So partly due to its antioxidant potential, and also just the way that it interacts with certain enzymes and things like that that have a role in the blood sugar. And also, surprisingly, geranium. I was surprised to find this one about geranium balancing blood sugar levels and reducing diabetic complications. So that is another one to think about. Another product that I found some great research on is actually olive essentials, because of its constituent in it called hydroxytyrosol, which is basically the benefit, the main thing that has the benefits in olive oil. So this one, they found that hydroxytyrosol is able to reduce glucose and insulin secretion, leading to a decrease of insulin resistance when taken for 2 months. And one of the things to keep in mind here is that when we have these blood sugar spikes, the problem is twofold. The spikes themselves create an issue, create problems in the body, but also then the more extreme or higher amounts of insulin that the body has to produce in response to that also creates another problem, because insulin is basically a fat storage hormone, and it stimulates the body to store fat. Because it's taking care of the glucose, what it does is it stores it. That's what it does. It comes in, it says, okay, this is too much for your body to handle right now, so I'm going to take it away and I'm going to stuff it down here and store it. Well, it gets stored as fat. So we want to address both sides of that, obviously, when we're looking at that. So Olive Essentials contains as much hydroxytyrosol as a liter of olive oil in just one capsule. It's some pretty awesome stuff. Again, the research is showing that the results come from consistent use over 2 months. So if you take it for a week and you don't see a difference, give it some time. Magnesium is another amazing one in many different ways. Number one, when your blood sugar is spiking, your body is utilizing magnesium, because what we talked about was that the way that these blood sugar spikes affect the blood vessels. In order to get the blood vessels to relax again, the body needs magnesium, and it's going to pull it from somewhere. And it also plays a role in what to do with the glucose and how to stimulate the insulin and things like that. So it's a really huge one for all of this. And of course, you guys know my favorite, the best source of magnesium ever is mineral essence. Plus, you get the benefits of the cinnamon oil is already in there. So you're covering at least 2 things with that, plus some of the other minerals that play a role in metabolic health as well. So mineral essence is just one of the ones that's going to cover a lot of it for you in order to support metabolic health. You've probably seen a lot of the research that we share and talk about on the wolfberries for glucose support, and I have a whole document on that. But you guys probably already know that. I've talked about it a ton. The wolfberries and the antioxidants in ginger red are absolutely amazing for glucose support, but I will issue one caveat. For some people, the drink itself, when consumed by itself or on an empty stomach, will temporarily raise blood sugar while it's kind of doing its thing in the body. So what I recommend is do not drink it on an empty stomach unless you're putting it in one of those like a red drink where you've added a lot of water to it and other things like that, and you're sipping on it for hours. Otherwise, I recommend just drinking it with your meals. Vitamin D is absolutely huge for this. I cannot stress the importance of making sure that you are optimizing your vitamin D levels, not just for metabolic health, but for all areas of health too. One study on over 5,000 people with impaired glucose tolerance showed vitamin D supplementation increased insulin sensitivity by 54%. There are so many people walking around with insulin resistance. And sometimes there can be a huge change in that just by optimizing vitamin D levels. One thing I will say though is that most people aren't taking enough. They're not getting enough for what their body needs for where their level is at in order to get it. When you also pair it with magnesium, like from mineral essence, your body's going to absorb the vitamin D more and be able to use it more. So those together are an excellent pair for everything. So you're going to improve your insulin sensitivity. And that's really what we want to do, because the more sensitive our body is to the insulin that we are producing, the less that we have to make. And that's really the ultimate goal. So let's see here. And that goes for all types of, not just insulin resistant diabetes, but also type 1 diabetes and things like that. So checking your blood sugar level or your vitamin D levels and things like that. I think, was there something else that I wanted to, let me get over to my other screen here. How do I do that one? Let me show it. How do I get this up? There we go. Okay, let me go back here. So I have created this, and I will share this in the group. A couple of other things that I didn't have in there that I want to touch on really quickly is Super B, because of the role that B vitamins play, especially there are numerous ones, and so we've got the whole package in the Super B. And this is especially important if you have adrenal issues, if you've been under a lot of stress, because of the way that stress raises blood sugar. You want to make sure that you're supporting your body's response to stress. And Super B with the B vitamins and the adaptogenic oils and herbs in it are really great for that. So that's a big one. Also, power meal is really important. What I see a lot of times is that, especially in women, when they go for too long without consuming protein, their blood sugar starts to go up. I know it seems weird. You can have absolutely nothing in your body and in your stomach, and you can have your blood sugar can go up because the body is sensing this as a threat. Like there's something wrong here, you know, and so it's saying we've got to produce glucose because we're not getting anything in the body to make glucose. And so making sure that you are getting adequate amounts of protein is so key for this, especially, well, for men too. But if you feel like you don't have an appetite in the morning, power meal is a really great solution for that too. So utilizing that, whether in the morning when you don't feel like you have an appetite, or just to make sure that you are getting adequate protein every 2 to 3 hours. And if I told you how much protein that we need, even women, and especially those of us who are working extra hard to support adrenal health, you would probably drop on the floor to find out how much protein. And I'm not going to give amounts because obviously everybody is different. But for most people, it's extremely high. They actually did some research on causing or simulating a protein deficiency in lab rats, and they found that it very much worsened their adrenal health. So protein is very key to all of this. We talked about golden turmeric, we talked about nature red, and we talked about the role that vitamin D has in it. So you have some really great solutions for your blood sugar support, for your overall metabolic health, which means your hormones, your skin, all of that. So you might look at this and not realize that mineral essence is great for your skin too. Power meal is great for your skin too. They're great for your immune system because of how it interplays all together with your metabolic health. So I think that's what we have for tonight. I hope it wasn't too fast. I hope it wasn't too much all at once, but I will keep sharing this information in the group on Facebook, and then put some of the information in our weekly newsletter and things like that too. Also, if you have any ideas on some more information or what you would have liked to see in this, I am open to hearing that as well. I actually was invited to Jordan Trant's Facebook group next week to present on the topic of blood sugar health. And I decided that I owed it to you guys first to have that information before I went and shared it with her group. So that was why I decided to get it on the calendar for you guys first. So let me know if you have any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple questions in the chat box. I didn't know if you saw them and if you had time for those.
I didn't. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You bet. Do you want me to read them or you got them pulled up?
Thank you. I got it. You rock. Next time I'm asking you to help be my assistant on the call. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, I did not cover probiotics. So they actually have done a lot of research on probiotics and metabolic health, and also even in type 2 people with type 2 diabetes, where they find that it very much improves the body's response to insulin. So I did not cover Life 9, and I should have. That is absolutely important. And I know I say this all the time, but probiotics are one of the things that you need to absolutely make sure you're getting one that's something that is what it says it is, because so many of them aren't. And so I wouldn't just go like willy-nilly with probiotics and expect them to help in this area. But we know that Life 9 is very good for that. So as far as taking, let's go back here. As far as when to take these, I personally, let's see here, I'm looking at them. Like I said, nature red with meals, unless you're making like the red drink, power meal, obviously anytime. Super B is interesting because sometimes a lot of people are told that you shouldn't take B vitamins after 3 p.m. because they can keep you awake. In my experience, taking Super B at nighttime helps me wake up feeling more rested, but also I do take it in the morning too, because I just find that I like it both times. So see what works for you on that. Vitamin D, Some people do fine with it at night. I don't. When I take it at night, it kind of makes me stay awake and makes it harder to fall asleep. And I don't know why that is. And I've tried a bunch of different vitamin Ds and they all do the same thing. So for me, I take my vitamin D in the morning, but just kind of see what works for you. There's no real like negative interactions or anything if you were to take all of these together at the same time or anything like that, because they don't have any of those effects with each other just because of what they are. So you can take, if you're like, I'm not going to be consistent, if I have to take things twice a day, I will only do it if I can take them once a day, then do it that way. If you're like, I cannot swallow that many things at once, then separate it out into 2 times a day. And just kind of see where you're at with that. Golden turmeric is one that I've utilized in the morning. I've used it at bedtime, and I haven't seen a difference in different times that I've utilized it. So just kind of see what works for you. The lavender lemonade covers the flavor of mineral essence. I am going to be sharing a post in our group in the next couple of days. There are so many great ways to hide the taste of mineral essence. And like Missy said, the vitality drops are really great for that. Some people are still like, it's not happening. So somebody, I won't say who yet, shared a post in the Diamond group about how to really, really mess the taste. And people are like, no, you're just kidding. And she was like, no, really, you have to try this. So I'll be sharing that too. There are so many ways. I would not, there's nothing that's comparable to it, in my opinion. I have tried for so many years. And it's the reason why I have 10 bottles on hand at all times, because nothing else compares. So it's worth figuring out a way around the taste. I promise. Just we'll keep going. So we'll share some ideas on that too. So thank you for the feedback. Do you guys have any other questions? All right, I'll be sharing a lot of the stuff that we talked about too in our group in little posts here and there. So you can keep watching that and make sure that you're subscribed to our newsletter, because sometimes it's hard to keep watching all of the posts. And then I put them all in there every week, not all of the posts, but the biggest ones. Cortistop. Cortistop, I just used that one today. Thank you for bringing that up, Rochelle. I want to just throw out there really quickly. When your body is in a state of stress and you're releasing cortisol, that raises blood sugar. And so when you can utilize what we have in order to help your body deal better with whatever stress is coming, if you know something is coming, or as soon as something does, if you can pop a cortisol or two, it can help minimize the impact that stress is going to have on your metabolic health and your other areas. If you are finding yourself in a chronic state of stress, just for something that you're going through, for your job, for just something else, it might be something to consider utilizing for a time being. And that's actually one of the main reasons why people have noticed weight loss from taking cortisol, because stress, the way that it impacts our blood sugar and the way that it impacts our hormones and all of that, causes weight gain. And so if you can stop that cascade of all these stress effects, then you can stop, the results of that. So what I'm eating and how. So also thank you for that, Claudia. If you go to a group that I have, I can include a link. It's called The Level Life. It's on Facebook, and I share a ton of meals and just ideas and things that might be spiking blood sugar for people that they wouldn't think about. I have a post in there, a really big post about protein, all about protein and how it plays into all of this and stuff too. So I will write down to also share the link for that group as well. And I think, let me think here. I have highlights on my Instagram too, where I share meal ideas, meals and stuff like that we eat too. So I'll get those resources to you guys. Let me know if there's anything else. I have a lot of this stuff out there. And so I'll just bomb you guys with all of the resources, and you can learn more and you can dive into this, give yourself some time, give yourself some grace. It's a long process. It's taken me quite a bit myself, even with having already had what I thought and what was a very healthy diet, to just improve in this area. So it's a process, but you can start with the supplements for sure and start getting on that right away and utilizing those for that while you work on everything else. So, that good? Do we have any questions? I'll get you guys
Sarah, I just want to
Yeah.
say really quick, thank you so much for all the research you've done. I really, really, really appreciate it. Regarding the oils, I had heard a long time ago, Ocotea and also Cassia. Did you see any research on those oils?
Yeah, I think that they're less researched just because they're less utilized, they're less popular. But when I look at them, they very much have the same impact as cinnamon. Actually, I think I did see one on Cassia that was better than cinnamon in some ways. But it's just so hard to get mainstream. They don't know what we have. We have those. So, and I don't remember if I have saved any of the stuff on Ocotea, but I will let you know if I find it.
Thank you. I was told Ocotea under the tongue when I eat. I unfortunately have not created that consistency yet, but I would like to do that.
Awesome. I am curious about that. I might try that myself when I'm wearing a monitor and I go to like eat popcorn or something carby and see what happens.
That'd be awesome.
I'll play around with that. That's a good idea. Thank you for that. Awesome. Anything else? You guys are so cool. I love how much you guys know and the ideas you guys have. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording and that will get up on our YouTube channel. Here.